Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Yeah, so today we're gonna be watching Freaky, ain't we? Or we did watch.
We watched it, yeah.
Yes, we'll be discussing
yeah.
it. So this is directed by Christopher Landon. It's a Blumhouse movie, and Christopher Landon, I didn't realize this. He did a bunch of other horror movies: Disturbia, Paranormal Activity 2, 3, and 4, and Happy Death Day 1 and 2. So,
I knew he did Happy Death Day. I didn't realize he had been around.
He did all of those, yeah. I can definitely now, seeing that, because I looked that up right before we started recording, and I can see Happy Death Day in this, as the same sort of style. I can tell he did both of those.
I know a lot of people like Happy Death Day. I only saw the first one. I didn't think it was that good. I thought this is way better.
Did you not? Oh, well, I don't know who I was thinking of then. I thought you liked Happy Death Day a lot. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, it was okay, and then the second one was not as horror as much as like a Back to the Future sequel. You know, but it was good, and this one I did enjoy it. You know, I was skeptical about it. Ian already knows I'm not huge on horror comedy. There are very few horror comedies that I really enjoy. And I thought this was released on Netflix or something because of the pandemic, and then I saw it was $20 to rent on Amazon Prime. It wasn't even to own, and that's what killed me. And I was like, Ian, I don't know if I can pay $20.
I was like, I'll fucking send it to you.
Movie.
I was like, I'll send you the money if you don't like it.
I know, Ian called me poor, so then I felt like my ego couldn't handle that, and I had to buy it.
I mean, this I feel like this squarely falls into episode of Buffy without Buffy.
It does. And even I have it in my notes here, there's a part that feels very Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think it's worth it, you know? Horror comedies, like I said, it either hits or misses for me, and this one, it did it. I even don't like Vince Vaughn very much, and I enjoyed him in this movie. So.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I've talked to have said that. They've been like, I'm not really a Vince Vaughn fan, but he was good in this. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I normally he's too douchey bro.
Yeah.
And I did half expect it to be when Vince Vaughn is playing himself as a teenage girl for it to feel homophobic, but it didn't.
It didn't. I don't know. They just, whenever Vince Vaughn was playing Vince Vaughn, they just gave him no lines. He didn't have any lines. He just was Vince Vaughn.
Do whatever you want.
But no, I liked it. It is very much if you've seen The Hot Chick, which is one of my favorite comedy movies. It's so stupid, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so much like this. It is the same damn movie, just with the serial killer.
Zachary, it is not. The Hot Chick is very bad.
It is the same fucking movie. Rob Schneider in that movie even borders on a serial killer without being a serial killer. So that is the same fucking movie. If anybody has seen it, let's put that down in the comments. Do you guys think how close do you think this is to The Hot Chick on
and you're all wrong if you say it's very close.
Scale. 1 being not very close at all, and 5 being on the nose.
God. My fun fact about The Hot Chick is my childhood neighbor who grew up to be a very successful doctor. We used to go on friend movie dates, and that was the movie he picked because I worked at a movie theater at the time, so we always got in for free.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I am so mad at you for making me see this movie.
Really? Oh, yeah. I think I watched it with my cousins for the first time, and it was just I could not stop watching it, so I stole the movie from their house, and now it's all scratched, but I won't get rid of it. Rachel McAdams, man, I love anything she's in. Yeah, but let's get into it. So the opening is your standard slasher movie opening. We've got, 4 teens, they're drinking, they're talking about serial killer stories, and, it fits great here. This movie is a, satire on, body switching movies and slasher movies, and so they're, I don't even remember any of their names. Yeah, so they're just the faceless victims.
But I will say we start with a title card, and I think this movie does title cards really well.
Oh, they do. I like all the designs. You know what? The closing credits too are really nice to look at. I sat through them because they're just visually appealing. The whole movie is visually appealing.
Yes.
So these teens are drinking and they're talking about serial killers, and then the Blissfield Butcher. That's what it's called. I don't think he has a name in the movie. Just the Butcher. He shows up and starts picking them off one by one, and then we have the final girl in the scene her whole chase scene feels. Do you got it?
Okay,
what?
wait.
Okay.
I think we should talk about the first kill first, because the first kill is like
I don't
very
remember
brutal.
it, Ian. I was trying to write it in my notes and I don't remember it.
The first kill is like he takes the wine bottle and shoves it down the guy's throat and
Okay,
smashes
now I
it
do.
in his
Now I
throat.
do. Okay, yes. Rewinding to that part a little bit.
Also,
that
I know you all
was-
can't see because we're doing this as a podcast, but I just motioned to Zach with like a bottle going down my throat and then
you
slapping
know
my own
what?
throat.
My audio cut out for a second. I didn't know if he was talking about the wine bottle down the throat or, Ian is gay.
Or my Saturday night.
He is a faggot. So, no, but I do remember that. And I remember seeing that and being like, wow, this better be that hardcore throughout the whole movie. I had high hopes for that. And then the last chick who ends up, dying. That scene felt like very Casey Becker in Scream.
Yes,
right?
I think they did a really good job actually with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you asking me when the movie opened, you're like, wait, is she the main character? Is she the blonde girl that's the main character? And we were both like, I don't think it is. And we were like, okay, they're all going to die.
Yeah.
And she like puts up a good fight. I mean, should we get her to see her having sex with her boyfriend? And she's like, I came, I'm done, get off me.
Oh yeah. See, I forgot that part too. Forgot it.
Which is, I love like flipping a trope. That's like my favorite trope.
Yeah.
And I just love that because like she wasn't like too mean about it, but she was just like, I'm done, you take too long, we're good.
And he's just
which
like,
would
just
like
give me 3 more
always-
minutes. I can take 3 more minutes. That's it.
And like while he's pestering her is when the boyfriend gets murdered. He gets a tennis racket,
Yeah.
broken tennis racket shoved in his fucking head. And I appreciate that, like, I don't know, she puts up a good fight, right? Because she
I
like
thought
runs
she
away.
did. And she picked a really good hiding place too. Like she came out of the hiding place, which is always that's always the big no. You always stay put
Forever.
Yeah, Ian. If somebody broke into your house right now, where is your hiding place? You should always know, everybody, your hiding place if you find yourself in a horror movie.
I don't fucking know.
Okay, so Ian is dead, everybody. Ian has died. My hiding place, I guess I have to pick a new one after I tell you all this. It's always in a cabinet, under like one of the lower cabinets in a kitchen. Like under the sink.
Okay, but if I can't fit in a cabinet, you can't fit in a cabinet. Your shoulders are way broader
It's pretty
than mine.
big. I feel like I could get in there.
When I was a twink, I could, but
I could get in there. I might be a little uncomfortable, but I feel like I could get in there. And then you just stay. You stay put because how many killers are looking in the cabinets? Not very many.
yes.
She has a there's like a little hidden room because they're in this big ass mansion. So there's
Like a
this
huge
little
mansion, yeah.
hidden room in the back of not just a closet, but a closet filled with fur coats. Is the type of luxury I hope to attain one day.
The type of luxury I live in.
Yes, and then she gets like I don't know, what did she get killed on? What was it that
So
she got impaled on?
When she's running away, he picks up, because like the fact that we learned that's like important for later, but not that important, doesn't really matter. Her father is like a collector of like artifacts. And so there's like a big spear that he pulls out of, I think it's like a knight or something that's like in their living room. And he throws it at her and he misses because she dodges it and goes into the wall. But then once she comes out and she sees her parents coming home, which you said is very Casey Becker, because it is, that's why she gets killed. She like runs to the door and then he throws her on the spear and kills her.
Yeah.
And that's how she dies. But she like put up a good fight before. She ran away. She knew the smart things to do. And I do think, like, I mean, it's still a horror movie, but I think it's like a little understandable to be like, oh, I'm safe. My parents are here. If you're like a teenager, and then being like, good, I'm in the clear, and then getting murdered. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's not like stupid.
I guess your parents are always represent safety. I think that's what was so scary about Scream is that she did see her parents, and that was that little bit of glimmer of hope. Here, I mean, yeah, it's a very Casey Becker. She gets impaled on this spear or whatever, and then the killer, before leaving, the butcher takes Ladola, is what it's called. Ladola, so this ancient dagger, and then the parents come in and they see their daughter, and then we get opening credits, and it's really cool, really stylized, and yeah. Then next day we get Millie, our main girl, our final girl. Is she considered a final girl? Do we do that?
Yeah,
Because
right?
she's not the only one that lived.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like Gail Weathers versus,
Okay.
Sydney
Yeah, well, Millie is played by, Catherine
Newton.
Okay. She's got a very memorable face, and she's a very pretty girl, but she is supposed to be the ugly duckling of our movie. She wears clothes that are used.
She wears glasses.
Oh, my goodness. Does she wear glasses? I don't even remember.
Doesn't she? I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. She is the she's all that girl. Everybody hates her. Everybody bullies her. The jocks bully her. The popular girls bully her. they make fun of her for wearing used clothes, and then the fucking shopkeeper or the shop teacher, not keeper, sorry, of the teacher of woodshop. He's like such a dick to her too. I think when I saw him be a dick to her, that was the moment I was like, I hope she wreaks havoc on this whole fucking school.
We both were like, I hope she kills all of them.
I think we both unmuted ourselves to say that at the same time too. But so Millie comes from like a kind of a harder background. You know, her dad died. She's living with her mom and her sister. Her sister's a cop, and the mom is kind of a wino who's kind of absent-minded. Yeah, she's not really there, and so Millie, and she's got two best friends, a black girl named Nyla and a gay kid named Josh. And I bring up that they're black and gay because Josh has this great line later on in the movie where he points out that the black character and the gay character are always the ones that go first in a horror movie.
Both of our favorite moments of when the police have to describe them.
Oh my god, yeah, I have that in here too. It's so good. The movie's really witty. I really enjoy the movie.
Well, for me, I think for a horror comedy to work, it has to be this witty. That's why. I think for you and even for me too, even though this is like more my brand of horror, like they don't always land for me either because like Happy Death Day for me, not to slander another movie to make one better, but for me it wasn't quite witty enough. Like I wanted the main character to be like, she needed to be super dynamic and she kind of wasn't here. And I think the two best friends are very dynamic characters and they're like fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if for a horror comedy to work, it does have to be witty instead of slapstick, and I don't think everybody always understands that. It's when it turns to slapstick, I'm out. I'm already checked out. But that night, Millie is performing at a football game, a high school football game, and she's the mascot, and she gets picked on. And then later on, she's waiting for her mom to pick her up from the game. Her mom is at home passed out. She's wine drunk, passes out, so the sister has to go pick her up. And Millie, while she's waiting for her mom and trying to call her mom, her phone dies. Anything that feels true crime to me is always scary to me. So this felt very true crime. It was really creepy, just like, you know, you would hear the story about the girl who was the mascot at school and she was just waiting on her mom to come pick her up, and then she sees the butcher from across the parking lot, and I thought that imagery was so good.
So I will say my notes say I love her friends, and then in all caps, I love her friends, and then I fucking love her friends. So we also meet all the, like, we do the thing where we meet the groups. Yes. We're introduced to the cute jock boy who looks very young. And I realized I said this to you when we were watching, which isn't true, but we both were like, he looks too young. And I was like, oh, it's because everyone else is like a sexy teen. But everyone in this movie looks, that was just me assuming, they all kind of look pretty young, which I actually do like.
Yeah. I always prefer an older person playing a teenager, I guess. I don't know. But because you have Catherine, who plays Millie, and she looks like she could be like 19, 20, 21 maybe. Yeah. And then her love interest, her crush in the movie is what's his name? Booker. And he looks 12 years old. He looks young. And that doesn't help later. It doesn't help at all. Right. It just gets worse.
He looks, it's weird to say, but I feel like because of his hair, he looked like young, but also young from the 90s. And I was like, this is a boy I would have had a crush on in middle school.
Oh, goodness. Ugh. So, yeah, Millie's running away. The butcher catches up to her, and he stabs her in the shoulder with La Dola. There's this weird, like, scene transition where once he's like raising the knife and stabbing her, we see these ancient ruins and the clouds come rolling in.
It's kind of cool.
Big dramatic scene. I really enjoyed the special effects of it all. But he stabs her in the shoulder, and then Millie's sister comes up and shoots at him. I don't remember if she shoots him.
I don't think she hits him. I bet she shoots at him, I think.
Yeah, and he gets away and he takes off running, and Millie's okay. So the wound was not fatal. She's kind of in a little bit of shock, doesn't, not too affected, but she goes home, and then that night she has all of these Buffy prophecy dreams with all this like really spooky imagery of knives and lightning and all that. This was the very first episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
And then her mom calls her to wake up, and when she wakes up, it is not a she, it's a he, because it's the butcher in Millie's body.
I really like that scene. I really like that scene.
Yeah, it's the butcher in Millie's body, and then we get Vince Vaughn or the butcher Millie waking up in the butcher's body, and so we got the two characterizations here. Vince Vaughn does such a good job playing this teenage girl in this massive man's body. And Vince Vaughn, he's a big dude. He's not like the most like ripped, muscular or anything, but he's just a hulking figure,
Especially next to these kids.
And there's a running joke throughout the whole thing that, Millie's got all this new strength now because she's in this grown man's body, and then the butcher is weak and can't really like fight anybody because he's in Millie's body and she's kind of weak.
I liked seeing the different, like, him waking up as her and her waking up as him. I thought they were both, like, really well done. Because, like, him waking up as her is just, like, he's literally psychotic. So he's just like, am I a teenager now? I'm going to murder all these people. And just, like, really excited.
Yeah, and they never, like, there's never they really do. So I guess with the butcher, what works so well is that they do just characterize him as always thinking about murdering people. So usually if you, even I feel like a real life serial killer, if you wake up in a teenage girl's body, you're going to be like kind of freaking out a little bit. He's like, time to kill. I don't know. But he gives her a makeover.
She's all that her.
He does it. He gives Millie's body a makeover, and he does a good job. This look is so iconic, dude. I love it. I love this look. It's like a blood red leather jacket and the slicked back blonde ponytail, and red lips.
And like the music that plays as she slow motion walks through the crowd, it's like Tercera Se or whatever that song is, and like. I love a slow motion walk scene in a teen movie. I'm always sold on it.
Especially when it's like she's walking through and everybody's kind of dividing as she walks through. Like, even I was watching the doors. Did you notice the doors opened without anybody opening them for her? So they just opened. It's just so good. It was so good.
And then going from like that slow song to like hardcore music to be like, oh yeah, this is the murderer.
She is so good. Badass. I absolutely love the butcher as Millie. I love it.
She does a really good job, that actor.
She did. I think she did a really good job. At first I was like, there's not really much for her to do because he doesn't really have any characterization except for thinking about death, but I think she does it really good. And like the looks that, she's giving, it's like very like, I don't know, like Stanley Kubrick, The Shining, like all these Jack Nicholson looks. And
especially when she switches, when the killer's like smart about it and knows to switch to like quote unquote
I found it so great.
Yeah.
It was so good. So throughout the day, like, Millie's like bopping around school, kind of just doing her thing. And then Millie in the butcher's body, Millie is, forgetting at times that she is in the butcher's body and everybody's looking out for him. So she's running into people and they're screaming, and she has to get to the school to try to convince her friends that she's Millie, this grown man.
But so also the school knows that she was attacked.
Yes.
So one of the head mean girls who we'd met before, Ryler, which is such a good mean girl name, is like, oh, Millie, tell me your story, blah, 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 blah. And because it's the killer, Millie is like, come in somewhere private with me. And Ryler thinks she's like gay and hitting on her and is kind of like, ugh, well, if you're not going to tell me the story, I'm going to leave. And then the murderer shoves her in. Zachary, what is that thing that he shoves her in?
So I know that whenever it's for athletics. I've never been in one. I don't exactly know what it does, but it's one of those cold chambers where you go in. It's super cold. You're supposed to stay in there for like a minute or so, and then you come out. Well, he sticks her in there and turns the dial all the way up, and she just freezes to death, right?
And sure.
And then the Millie in the butcher's body comes out and finds her body and smashes her body to pieces on accident. And I thought that's how the movie was going to play out. Is Millie was just going to keep running into all of these murders and getting caught for them, and everybody would think,
I think you said that at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how I thought it was going to play out. But no, Millie finds her friends and she has to convince them that she is Millie. And this was, I thought this was great. There's this huge chase scene where this grown man is chasing these kids.
That's when he yells, "You're black, I'm gay. We are so dead."
Yeah, and but I thought they did Nyla and Josh did such a great job of like fighting him off. I thought they were pretty badass, honestly.
I mean, realistically, if he were the killer, he probably still would have killed them. But like, I appreciate the
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah, I mean they were not, and like every time there would be a moment to breathe, and Millie would start explaining, they'd start kicking the shit out of him again.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
I also wrote this line down in my notes, and I don't know what. I don't remember. It's right at this scene. I say, like, watching the friends fight back is delightful. Also a perfect line. She's got a dick in her hand, and you're wearing Chanel number 5. I think we're past labels. I don't remember when that happens.
I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It's really good in the bathroom. So Millie ends up convincing her friends that she is.
Isn't it through the dance? Like she does their like
She
little
did.
friend
Yeah,
dance.
there's a couple moments in here where she has to convince people that she is
Yeah.
Millie, and it's just these are the corny moments that I kind of just roll by, and I'm like, okay, you get a pass, but like, let's go. She convinces them, and then they're all in the bathroom, and she's like, I love moments like this. It might be a little creepy, I guess, but I love moments where, you know, realistically you switch bodies and you have all these new parts and stuff, and she's kind of just like flopping the dick around and like it's just awfully good.
Just the killer, they actually do that with the killer at one point, but they don't make it creepy. It's just like
Yeah.
the killer feels his chest to be like, oh, I am a girl.
Yeah.
And like, I was worried. I was like, ugh, but then it's just like, that's all it is.
Because
It's just like,
it's like bordering, but I think they did
Yeah.
it well, because even when Millie is in his body and she's like checking out her own stuff, she's not like playing with it. Her hands are in
Right.
the air and she's just like flopping it, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just this new part. But the three of them come up with a plan. They got to get Ladola, they got to get the knife, they got to capture Millie's body, and they have to stab her before the bell tolls at midnight. They find all this from Google, by the way.
a lot of moving parts
A lot
in
of
this.
movie. There is, so we're gonna try to like get through it all, because there's a lot of like little, I don't know, like detours and stuff that we do to get up.
A friend of mine referred to it as a god tier level Buffy spec script
Oh
explanation.
my gosh!
And it is.
me writing this thing, me writing out my little list of notes here, and the recap for the plot is just like, oh, but then we have to go here, but then we have to go here. There's a couple parts I skipped in, so I'm sorry. But no, Millie goes to the wood shop, and she kills the shopkeeper.
teacher.
Yeah, she does
Who
try
is-
to attack him, and he's a big guy, so he's stronger than her, and she's not expecting that, right?
I
She's
think, isn't that where we first learned she doesn't have the strength?
yeah, and she's kind of
Yeah.
like, and so she has to do these, different tricks where she jumps on his back and stuff like that, but he's still really able to overpower her, and I think eventually she finally gets him onto the to the table, and with the table saw just saws him in half from balls to head. And there he goes, and she leaves, and then finally Millie and the butcher run into each other, but I don't know, like he's like, don't move. He's like acting like he's gonna be intimidating. Millie is using her new body to be intimidating, but the butcher also uses his new body to switch back into a teenage girl, as he just starts screaming, and everybody
And the police
alerts.
come around
So it alerts everybody. The police come around, and so Millie, Nyla, and Josh are on the run. They get in the car, they take off, and the police are like on the walkie-talkies describing the suspects, and they're like, "We've got so and so," and then they describe, instead of saying a gay kid, they're like, and then a boy who's an excited boy. I went on Twitter like right after this, and I said, I just learned I'm not gay. I'm just excited.
Yeah, the line is one is black, one is white, and excited.
It was so good. So good. I laughed for a good minute after that.
It's like such a good line.
Yeah. So basically the three of them are trying to keep, for the next couple scenes, are trying to keep out of sight. Meanwhile, Millie is going around and kind of feeling out her new atmosphere. She goes to an arcade, and they finally track her down.
Because
to
they
an
see on
arcade.
Snapchat.
Yeah. It's Snapchat. That's what it was. Okay. So on Snapchat, the three of them figure out that Millie's body is at the arcade. So they track her down there to go capture her. The butcher is about to kill her Millie's love interest, Booker.
Yeah.
Millie comes out, and there's this little battle, and Millie's stronger, so she wins, and they finally capture the butcher, and they take Booker too. I don't know.
Because wait, it's a really weird, funny scene because Booker starts to run away, and they're like, "No, he can't run away. He like has to be with us." So like Millie in the butcher's body just like throws him against the wall and knocks him unconscious.
I forgot about that. I think, like, I don't know. I was just like, just leave him. Why are we adding another character into the mix? I just didn't care.
Well, I get it. Like they didn't want him to have to like tell everyone about like where they were.
I guess, but okay. So another question. I mean, I guess we're just supposed to suspend disbelief here, but wouldn't, if they have these suspects kind of stake out their house, because they go to Josh's house, they take Millie's body and Booker to Josh's house, but I would assume police would already be there or have been there.
Well, to be fair, no one was home earlier.
I guess. Yeah. So Josh's mom is supposed to be like, at a work thing for the, yeah. So she's gone. And so they go to Josh's house, they tie up the butcher, and Booker wakes up and freaks out, and Millie convinces him through a song. Is it a song, or is it like, no, it's a love letter, isn't it? It's a love letter that she left in his locker, that she is Millie. And it's very hot chick, guys. It's a very hot chick. Baseball. He thinks he's gonna score. If you take him all the way, then you are a whore, or something. It's the same thing, y'all.
Yeah. So the gay kid tells the killer, "Dry up, bitch," which is a very good. I want to try to like get that in my vernacular. Like I want to be able to say that from now on. I got to try to make sure I say it often, because it's a real good, like, instead of saying "shut up," "dry up." Ugh,
it's good.
Well, these gay teens, the things they come up with.
All the new lingo, man. All the new lingo. And we're just getting older, ain't we? We're just going to miss out on all of it. So the plan is for Josh to babysit the butcher, the tied-up butcher. And Nyla, Millie, and Booker are going to go to the police station and try to get Ladola back from, like, an evidence locker. Which is, I don't know why they left Josh with I don't know. You don't leave one person with the killer.
Right.
And so while they're off at the police station trying to get Ladola back, Josh's mom comes home unexpectedly, and she is concerned, I guess, because there's this girl tied up in his living room, and I love their little back and forth here. They're like, it's role play. And she's like, "Do you know what role play is?" And he's like, "Yes, and I am straight."
Yeah. That scene is fantastic.
She didn't even believe it. I thought there was gonna be that moment where the stupid mom is just like, stupider than the teen, but she's like, "You're not straight," and she like unties her, and then the butcher
immediately Millie tries to
attacks Josh and his mother, and
I was glad that the mother I was worried the mother might die, just as like,
I was like, don't do that.
Yeah,
there are certain characters I want to die in this, but not the bystanders. And they lock themselves in the bathroom, and the butcher just gets away. And so earlier, it was kind of revealed that there is going to be a party tonight at the old mill where the butcher has been camping out and living. And so there's going to be a party with all these teens. And so the butcher is headed over there to kill all these teens, because they only got one track mind to kill. So Nyla is going in to get the dagger and gets caught by Millie's sister. Millie's sister doesn't buy any of this for a moment, so Millie has to come in and save her, and they end up locking up Millie's sister, and they grab the knife. They figure out, Josh calls them and tells them that the butcher has escaped and is headed to the party, so they all head to... are we missing something?
We're missing something.
Okay.
We're missing something.
I'm just trying to skip all these little detours here.
We did skip
we did. I know what you're talking about. Little 12-year-old Booker and 40, 50, whatever-year-old Vince Vaughn in the back of a car.
Yes.
Having this weird romantic moment. This weird... even the shot is, like, tilted. It bothered me.
It's so weird.
It's just... I didn't want this in here. And
I'm sure that guy, you know what, if I probably looked at his IMDb, that kid is probably like actually 19 or 20 and just looks young. But it like...
Oh, I'm sure. It's still, yeah.
Because he looked so young, it's like...
and they're like stroking each other's cheeks and... Do they kiss? They kiss, right? They did.
I actually did see someone say that, no, it's that... So they do go to kiss, and Vince Vaughn, I thought it was just like... Vince Vaughn doesn't really want to kiss a child to like cover up. But I think it's supposed to be that he puts his hand on his face to stop him. Like he puts his hand on his face. Because remember he does say, let's wait until I have softer skin or something. It's very weird. It's very weird.
It's just so weird.
I was like, is this kid, is it going to be that he's secretly gay, but also
You know, and that's the
attracted to,
question
like,
there too, is because he was. I don't know. See, I guess this plays into the whole politics of like, gender identity and all that. I don't know. Fucking, it plays into everything. It's way too much to explain here, but I was questioning maybe he's just into guys, but I guess he was just into Millie. Is what
I know
it
that I
was.
also have, yeah, and so that would be like the nicer like
Yes.
way of looking at it. I think I also sometimes sometimes when someone is like a lot younger looking, and my head goes to like, oh, are they like feminine? Are they gay?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's just weird, Ian. Let's move on. Anyway, there's that little moment, everybody. That's your moment to go take a bath or break, I guess. So they all head to the party, and before they can even get there, this is what I was looking for this movie, because you see the trailer and you see the butcher in Millie's body, and she's got the red jacket on, the ponytail, and she's got like a chainsaw, and it's just such an iconic look, and she's like. You expect her to go full balls to the wall, like slasher film, and like cut everybody up and like running through this place. And there was a little bit of that, but there wasn't as much as I wanted. I wanted like full on American Psycho. She does kill the jocks that were picking on her earlier.
Like in a circle, and it is great.
It is. It's a really good moment.
I will say one of them. There's one of them that she just like hits with a bottle, and they're like dead.
Really?
It's a little bit of, yeah, the first one, she just hits him with a bottle. And like, I know that could knock you out.
Yeah.
But like, then like in the next scene, he's one of the people covered in blood. And I kind of would have liked a little, like that feels like, so it reminded me of, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I almost called you Alistair. Jesus Christ.
Lord Jesus. Okay. I'm out. Leave meeting.
When I was a kid, I think in maybe at the beginning of high school, I like wrote a horror movie, and me and my friends filmed it on VHS tape. And at one point, a lot of them, one of the moms was coming to pick them up, so the ride was like leaving for like 8 of them. So we were like, all right, in the next scene, the killer enters and everyone dies. So just fall over and die when he stabs one person. And that was one of the scenes, like the killer like pretends to stab someone, and like 4 other people fall over dead. And it made me think of that.
But so I was expecting her to go full balls to the wall, American Psycho. She does that a little bit here. And then,
that would be maybe my only critique of the movie, is that I would have liked.
Yeah. She does that with the jocks.
Kill half that class.
I was waiting for her to kill the jocks as like our opening kill for the finale, and then her to just ram through this group of partying teens with this chainsaw,
But we do get, after she like rips through those jocks, we do get the good scene of the gay kid and this like jock who's like,
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the jocks like.
Which, now that we're talking about it, I didn't realize is kind of like the Millie scene.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Is it the same jock? It's not the same jock, is it?
What?
Because there's one jock that is talking. I mean, I guess all the jocks are talking about doing sexually explicit things to Millie, but there's one in particular. Is that the same one that kind of hits on Josh? Okay, so one of the jocks hits on Josh too. And she comes through the wall at that point, right? And she kills him.
She stabs him in the eye.
She does. And then she goes after Josh. And so...
it's a really good... Wait, so it's a good scene because Josh is like... He pauses, then he's like, I don't have time for this. Because he knows that like they need to find... And then the guy calls him a fag and then immediately gets murdered, which is so good.
It's that straight. I mean, that's not even... This ain't no trope or no stereotype. That is literally... things that some straight boys do that y'all pretend doesn't happen.
Yes.
There are always the straight boys who are, quote unquote, straight. But whatever. The cops show up at the party. And then we have another confrontation between Millie and the butcher. And they're all running. Everybody's running around trying to get at the other one. And so finally I don't even remember how they do, but they end up getting the butcher on the ground, and they're ready to stab him. They got the knife, and then like the clock turns 12, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, too late! This part was stupid. They could have just cut it out." They're like, "Oh my god, too late!" And then somebody's like, "But wait! I told you to set your timer 5 minutes ahead."
It was Booker. He used his charm on Millie.
But
she
why?
would set her phone.
Oh, so she'd always be on time, right? Is that she would?
Right, yeah, because she was late.
Maybe we should do that, Ian.
I know.
Okay.
Don't say we. I know you mean me.
But no, the bells didn't toll, so it's not really midnight. So she has an extra 5 minutes. And and she stabs the butcher, and they're like, did it work? And there's a kind of a question there. I was questioning whether it worked or not, but they do end up going back into their own bodies. Okay. Here's my rewrite. I do this almost every episode.
Zach loves a rewrite. We should call this like the like Zach rewrite
the segment.
Section.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's Zach's rewrite for this episode of My Bloody Judy. For Freaky, I would have had everybody waking up, and the butcher wakes up, and he's still in Millie's body, but he pretends to be the actual Millie. So Millie is still in the butcher's body, but he doesn't say anything before he's gunned down, because the cops show up and gun the butcher down like almost immediately after they switch bodies back. So Millie is actually in the butcher's body and gets gunned down. And then the ending would reveal that the butcher is still in Millie's body. And then, like, boom, there's your setup for the sequel. I really want to see Millie with her ponytail and red jacket and chainsaw on a legit fucking murder spree for, like, a whole movie. And then Nyla and Josh are trying to stop Millie from killing everybody. That's what I want to see. And that could have been Freaky 2 or Freakier. Oh, see? Freakier!
I mean, but we don't need it to be the same. In the second one, it could just be a different killer.
It could be. I don't know. That would have been really good, though, as if it was still the butcher in Millie's
But I wouldn't
body.
have liked that, because that would have been, for me, then that's like, doesn't fit with the tone of the movie if Millie actually dies at the end of the movie.
I mean, it's a little darker, Ian, but I do enjoy a darker ending. So there is Zach's rewrite for this episode of My Bloody Judy. And then, nope. They're back in their own bodies, and the butcher gets gunned down. But he didn't actually die. He faked his death.
Yeah.
So as he's in the ambulance, we have this little moment between Millie and Booker. And same moment that was earlier with Booker and Vince Vaughn, except Millie's back in her own body, and they have their kiss. Anyway, the butcher fakes his death, but he escapes because he kills everybody in the ambulance. And he goes to Millie's house, where Millie's back home with her mom and her sister. He goes to Millie's house and attacks her. And he's like making fun of how weak she is. And she's like, you know what? I learned something while I was in your body too. And she's like, balls. And so she like kicks him in the balls to, I guess, prove that like men do have a slight bit more weakness than a woman. A woman can give birth, but men have balls that are supposed to be the epitome of manliness, but can be damaged so easily.
Just to like quote my favorite show my other favorite show that I always quote at you, that you are probably tired of hearing about. In The Magicians, that's a thing where like someone says nut up to Margot, who's my favorite. And so she like switches it around and will be like, oh shit. Now I can't remember. She said something like vag up or something like that. And like in one of them, she's like, get your labia and get it together. And like, she always says shit like that instead of like, have some balls.
It's perfect. It's perfect because balls really are the weakest thing. I love my balls. They're great. They're fantastic, but they are very sensitive. So she kicks him, and then Millie, her mom, and sister are all like teaming up to take down the butcher,
Which I liked.
There's a big team up moment. Still hate the mom. Don't care for her. She's just not. Don't care. She could have died at this point, but they take him down, and Millie kills the butcher. Yeah, and then that's the end.
But also Buffy hoomps because she breaks part of the table leg. And
again, she stakes him. Let's say it as it is. Call it as it is, Ian. She staked Vince Vaughn. And
she's Faith, and he's the deputy mayor.
And then the end. And there's these really, really great closing credits. I would suggest everybody just stay and watch, because somebody took time. Somebody stayed up really late one night making those closing credits. Pay attention to him. And that was Freaky. That was the movie. Yeah.
I like it. What was your favorite scene, Zachary?
Probably. I'd have to say, just for creep factor, when Millie first sees the butcher while she's waiting on her mom. But I also love a climax, so the whole end party part is really, really good too. Even though I would have liked it to be a little bit more. What about you?
I think my favorite would be when the kids, her friends, first encounter Millie in the killer's body.
Oh, really? That's it. That was a good one. Yeah, no, I was really happy you made me watch it. You peer pressured me into watching this one.
Zachary hates it when I say I love something that he says, but I love when you say that I was right.
There's another movie that I made my brother and sister watch on Christmas called Better Watch Out, and it's like a Christmas horror movie that we didn't cover, but I really want you to watch that one.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we did. You haven't seen it though, correct?
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
No.
yeah, and I really do want you to watch that one. I want us to cover that one, but yeah.
That's the one that most people actually asked me if we were going to cover.
Oh, really? Oh, you did tell me that too, and we didn't do it, Ian. We didn't do it. That'll be a January one. We'll do it, guys. The snow is still falling in January, right? It could be in July, you know? The world is burning. I don't know. Alrighty, well, do you want to tell everybody where they can find My Bloody Judy from here on out?
You can find My Bloody Judy on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts on the Slayerfest 98 podcast stream. Zach, where can everyone find us on YouTube?
Well, you can find us on the same place we've always been on YouTube, AZB bonus features. But I'm so happy that My Bloody Judy has joined the Slayerfest 98 podcasting network.
Yay.
You got to come up with a name for that. You're a network now, Ian.
Isn't that the fucking name? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We're really excited to be continuing this and going into a more regular schedule with My Bloody Judy. And hope you follow us along. With that, happy 2020, everybody. Let's hope for a happier 2021.
Yeah, well, let's hope.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.